I can't believe I'm actually filming this video, but here we are. I would just ask that you watch this video from the beginning to the end before you comment, and actually fully listen to the story I'm about to tell and everything I say, because I think, especially when it comes to controversial things, people like to cherry pick different aspects of what someone says and take it out of context and kind of run with it. And they completely misinterpret what that person is saying, and they kind of put words in that person's mouth and make up stories about them that just don't add up to what the person actually said. So please fully watch the entire video and really listen before you comment. I probably won't respond to the comments in this video. I might do a follow-up video answering questions and going more in depth on things, but I just want to keep this video not short, but as succinct as possible to get everything I want to say out there in a way that is easy to digest, so everyone can understand where I'm coming from, what I'm saying, and so it won't be misinterpreted. I am no longer vegan. Legit, never thought I would ever say those words. Really, truly. I also want to preface this video by saying I did not go vegan, or I should say, I did not go plant-based for the animals. I initially got interested in plant-based living from a health perspective. So I just want that to be known. And I feel like, no, I don't feel like, I know that I've been very transparent with all of you on this channel about my struggles with my plant-based diet and plant-based diets in general. I've never painted the picture that plant-based diets will save you from all of these things and it's the magic cure to everything. And once you go vegan or plant-based, you will never have any problems ever with your health or your mental state or anything. That is just complete bullshit. And I've never thought that, ever. So for my entire YouTube career, old videos you can go back and look too, I've been very open with the fact that I was struggling on a plant-based diet, basically. My first video that was kind of controversial, one of the first ones, was where I talked about how I was no longer going to be high-carb, low-fat vegan, and I was going to include more fats and veggies into my diet. And at the time, I think I filmed it in like 2018, 2017, and at the time it was pretty controversial because people were still on that high-carb, low-fat train. It was very much the norm in this space. And during those years, I had been vegan for, at that time, maybe like 2 or 3 years. And I had noticed that my hormones were imbalanced. And I've done lots of videos on hormonal imbalances, my PCOS, all that stuff. If you want to, I'll leave some links down below too that you can check out to reference all of those. But high carb, low fat just did not work for me. So, and at that time I was like, oh, I'm for sure being vegan for the rest of my life. I was fully convinced that my kids were going to be vegan. And I was so thankful that I discovered a plant-based diet in my mid-20s. So, at that point, you know, I was like, okay, I'm no longer high carb, low fat vegan, but I need to figure out what vegan diet works best for me. So I started incorporating more fat. I kind of started being more balanced vegan, like macronutrient wise, and I experimented with a lot of different things. Then fast forward a year or two later, a lot of you guys know, because I was still having hormonal issues and I was still trying to figure that out, I dabbled in vegan keto, and that was kind of like my last ditch effort to like, okay, if this doesn't work, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, because this is like what people with hormonal disorders, PCOS, this is like what they do. This is what they turn to. So I did vegan keto for like 2 weeks strict. I like tracked everything, and I felt pretty good on it, but it was just, I knew that it wasn't sustainable, and it was also awful for my mental health and like my relationship with food, because it's so restricting. And so around that time of me experimenting with different vegan diets, low carb, like medium carb, balanced, keto, all these different things to try to help my hormones. It really fucked me up with food because I was placing not only the restriction of, okay, no animal products, that was already a thing for me. I was also putting these other parameters on myself. Like, okay, so I have PCOS, my hormones are imbalanced, so I'm going to eat more fat, less carbs, more fiber, all these different things, more protein. So I was like dealing with that, and it was really, really bad. So then, you know, after a while, I went back to just like eating regular plant-based and not putting any more labels on that, just plant-based. I've made videos before in the past. I think just one actually. The title is something like Going Vegan Fueled My Overeating. And that was the first time that I talked about my really disordered eating relationship with food. I was really struggling at that time because I was still in the mindset of the high carb, low fat volume eating, like eating a lot to get the amount of calories that you need. But I was doing that with like higher fat foods. And because my body was not getting the nutrients that it needed, because my body was so imbalanced, my hormones were crazy, I would binge on like all these healthy things, you know, like chickpeas or sweet potatoes or regular potatoes or rice, like all these things. And I would do it to try to fill a void of my just complete, I felt helpless because I couldn't figure this out. I couldn't figure out, okay, what diet works best for me? I don't fucking know. And also, like, I know that I want to be plant-based for the rest of my life, so I have to figure this out. And it was so stressful. And my response to that was just to eat more and to use food as my comfort. And I also like didn't know how to trust myself. I didn't know how to trust my body to tell me what it wanted to eat. I was looking at other people, other health gurus, other like plant-based people in the community to tell me what diet was best for me to eat. And believe me, I tried them all. And it just left me more fucked up than ever with my relationship with food. And all of those limitations that I set on myself, it was basically a diet. And if you've had any sort of eating disorder or disordered eating, you know that diets are awful for your mental health if you struggle with food issues. And so not only was I struggling with my relationship with food, I couldn't trust myself with food. I had no idea what to do, what to eat. I wanted to lose weight, but I also was like trying to figure out, okay, what foods and diet works best with my hormones. And then I found out that I had PCOS. And then, you know, I had all these tests done to like figure out where my levels are at. And it was just all so much. And I just could not put those labels on myself anymore. In 2020, I really focused on healing my relationship with food and getting back to a healthy place with it. Before I went vegan, I would say I've never had like a 100% healthy relationship with food. Like any woman growing up in the world, you know, as kids, you're more of an intuitive eater. And then as we grow up, diet culture, all of these different outside factors affect how we view ourselves, how we view food, and how we approach diets. And so, you know, obviously I was a victim to that, and it, you know, changed the way I viewed a lot of things. But I never had an eating disorder. I never had really bad disordered eating until I went vegan and plant-based. And for like the first few years of being vegan, I really suppressed those emotions. And I think because I went into plant-based living, because of the health aspect of it, I kind of clung to it as like my savior. Like, this is going to save me from all of my problems. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to be healthy. I won't have any more issues with food. I will be just like the epitome of health and wellness. And I think a lot of people go through that with any diet. It could be anything. It could be keto. It could be paleo. It could be whatever. They cling to different diets and labels to save them from the mistrust that they have with themselves when it comes to food, because there are so many conflicting things out there. So in 2020, I started working with an emotional eating coach to help me with all these things. And by no means did she tell me to stop being vegan or anything. But she really encouraged me to trust myself, learn how to trust myself again with food. And in order for me to do that, I had to remove the labels. I had to remove any diet label that I had put on myself. And it was really difficult because I had like an identity crisis, because I was so consumed with the vegan world, the plant-based world. Obviously, I have a whole channel about plant-based cooking, and it was so much a part of me that I almost had to like mourn that part of myself. And it was not a fun process. It took a lot of self-reflection and self-awareness to figure out what healthy eating looks like for me when it comes to my relationship with food. Yeah, that's pretty much why I'm no longer vegan, is because I really, in order to repair and heal my relationship with food and to start trusting myself and trusting my body to tell me what it wants to eat, how much it wants to eat, I had to remove the labels. I had to do it. And also on top of that, like, I didn't want to add more pressure to eat a certain way, because I also have PCOS and I would love to reverse the symptoms of that. And, you know, a lot of people notice that, yeah, I have gained weight, and it's because I was going through the really messy parts of my disordered eating and figuring out what worked for me. And I would go through periods where I would overeat and binge, and then I would go through phases of just eating really clean and healthy, and my all or nothing mindset got out of control. So 2020 was a year of just really digging deep and figuring out how to intuitively eat and what that looks like. And I can share more about that journey later, but I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what direction to take this channel. I have no idea how you guys are going to react. I know it's probably going to be really bad, and I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed in me. And that makes me so sad and scared. Not gonna lie, it's very scary putting yourself out there on the internet for everyone to critique you and to watch your every move. It's very rewarding, and you know, I love so many of you, but it's also so scary. I know a ton of you guys are probably gonna hate me after this, unfollow me, unsubscribe, and you do what you gotta do. I totally get it. I'm very sorry if I disappointed you. I had to talk about this, and I had to come clean about it, be open about it, and like I said, I'll probably do a follow-up video answering any questions that you guys might have. So I just want to end this video by saying, if you are struggling on your plant-based diet, or you are just struggling in general with food and figuring out like how to have a healthy relationship with food, you're not alone, and it's way more common than you think it is. And whether you're vegan or not, we all have issues with food, and diet culture really messes up our intuition when it comes to food. So I just want you to know that it is possible to get healing from this and to have a healthy relationship with food. It's not going to be a linear journey of, you know, you're going to go from point A to point B. It's going to be a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic, and it is a journey for a reason. It's going to take a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-awareness, and it's going to be hard, but I want you to know that you can do it. You're not alone, and there are resources out there to help you. So I just wanted to end on that. And for those of you who can relate to this story, I'm sending love to you. I'm sending love to everyone. So leave any questions or comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. I do not know how to end this, but I love you guys.